Hey cooks, welcome back to the Recipe Vault. Today I pulled out of our handwritten recipe collection, we're going to make cheddar chowder. When I saw this recipe, I thought it was kind of interesting because we're going to be making like the vegetables and the soup in half the liquid, and we're going to be making a cheese sauce, and we're going to be putting that into the soup. I've never made it that way before. We're going to try it out. This came from a recipe collection from York, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the Amy Learns to Cook kitchen. Lord, this thing has no guts. Okay, so we need to shred some cheese, and I always shred it from a block. I don't buy pre-shredded cheese because it doesn't melt that great.
I got dibs on any leftovers.
This is for soup's for you, so.
Ah!
Okay, so the first food processor that I saw when I went into the pan room was this thing. It's not one that I would recommend, but it was there and it was ready to go, right? So. Oh, it goes up. Not horrible. So what is the reason that I shred my own cheese instead of buying it shredded?
You don't like paying for basically sawdust.
Sawdust. So it's an anti-caking agent. It keeps the cheese from caking up and stays in the shreds. But at the same time, that whatever they use, sawdust, right? Whatever they use.
I mean, it's probably plant fiber of some sort.
Yeah. But it doesn't melt very well like that. Whoops. So I shred my own cheese, then you don't get anti-caking agents. So we need 2 cups of this cheese. Homemade shredded cheese. 2 packed cups. Let me go get a Ziploc to put this away. Okay, cooks, let's make some chowder, right? I have a stove right here. This is a 5-quart, maybe 5.5, something like that. We got some olive oil, of course. So this recipe calls for putting some onions and vegetables in here, throwing some water in there, and simmering it. I like to bring a little bit more hearty to the table. So we're going to put some onion here. It doesn't call for a lot. I don't think it's a huge recipe. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and cook these until they soften a little. Carrot. We're going to soften this carrot up a little bit. And we have a little bit of celery. Classic. Let me let this soften real quick. Okay, we're looking mighty fine. Mighty fine, right? I'm gonna put some, they called for water. I'm using chicken stock, and this is homemade chicken stock. I'll put a link up here and down there, how I make that. This is off the recipe. Granulated garlic. This is not salted chicken broth. It's unsalted. So I'm going to put some in here, and we're going to have to adjust this. We're going to put a little pop, yay, for the pepper. Pepper. And I have some diced potato. Okay. Lid on. This is going to cook 10 to 12 minutes. I need to go grab another stove. Okay, so this is where this recipe gets a little weird. We're going to make a little cheese sauce here. Basically, I have some butter in here. We're making a white sauce and then a cheese sauce.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's looking pretty good. We're going to put some flour in here. I'm going to cook this up roux style. Roux style.
Are you just making a light blonde or?
Yeah. Just cooking this. Cooking the flour a little bit. Don't be intimidated by this. It's so easy. Okay? Whole milk. Or milk. They just say milk. I got whole milk. Let me check what's going on over here. Stir, 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 stir. This is going to thicken up. It's going to thicken up. Right for my bowl, it's going to thicken up. Stir, 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 stir.
Yeah, I don't want no watery.
This is a sautéing.
I want it to be nice and thick. I don't want this watery stuff.
It's a sautéing. It's a sautéing. We're going to thicken it up. Okay, it looks like we're thickened up here, so I'm going to go ahead and put a whole rack of cheese in here.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to melt in here. Whoa, thick cheese sauce. Whoa. That looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're just waiting on the soup now. Okay, we're going to be taking this cheese sauce and we're going to be putting it in this soup. Strange as it is. That's what they say to do. That's what they say to do. I want to stir this in. This is actually a pretty easy way to make a cheddar chowder.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to add some cubed ham.
You got a couple of
Jumpers.
yeah.
Whoa. That looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put this lid back on. We're going to let this ham heat. And then Eric is going to have him some cheddar chowder.
Yeah.
So here is our delicious looking cheddar chowder. Look at that. Think that's going to be good?
I don't know. Bring it closer.
And we're going to serve it up here for Boo. Boo Boo. It smells creamy, if something could smell creamy.
Oh, I'll give you a heads up. It's tasty.
So you need to adjust it for seasoning. Obviously, it depends on if you use like commercial broth or if you're using homemade that doesn't have a lot of liquid salt in it. Yeah. Okay, Boo, come on over and get some cheddar chowder.
Sure.
Okay, Boo, taste the cheddar chowder.
First of all, I just want to say thank you, Boo, for all the hard work, because this thing is pretty yummy looking, right?
Eric is in need of a haircut. Go ahead.
Every time she cooks for me, she threatens me with a haircut, right? So maybe we need to find a non-dairy version of this, right? And then I can keep my hair.
Okay, taste away.
So, first of all, it looks yummy, right? It's chunky, but it's got liquid and stuff in there. Still hot.
So how's the seasoning? It doesn't call for a lot of seasoning. One of the things I noticed is it doesn't call for garlic. I didn't put that in there. I actually chopped some and I forgot to put it in there. So
what I like about it and stuff is, first of all, it is cheesy, but it is a soup. So you are supposed to have a broth in there. So I think it's a good ratio because obviously you can go with it being too watery or too thick. So I think
it's not cheese sauce.
No, it's not really a cheese sauce because it's diluted with the broth. So it is an actual soup. Otherwise, it would just be vegetables and meat with cheese on it, right? It's a soup. Yeah. So I think the balance is good. So I think the recipe hit that good. Amy cooked the potatoes and everything good because, you know,
if you cook them too long, they're going to break up.
They're going to break apart. No. And obviously you undercook them, you're going to be like a rock. So no, she did a really good job there. So everything. And the ham gives it the little burst of, you know, meat flavor in there, whether you want to say, oh, it's salt.
You could turn it into chicken corn chowder.
You could. It is going to be salty just because there is dairy products in there and there's ham. But like she said, we went with homemade stock that has no salt in it. So we did put a little bit in there, but not too much. So season it to taste. But I think it's a good starting point, and then you can customize it however you want. I think the way it is really good. She put a little garlic. It's great. She says, how's it taste? Any flavor to it? It's a balanced flavor. It's not off the deep end on anything.
You could put a little cayenne if that's your...
If you want to do that, you can put a little more pepper in it, whatever. If you want to put some herbs. But I mean, I think it's good the way it is. So I don't want to say, oh, it's bad. No, I think it's great.
I'm glad you like it, Bill.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. So
I'll put this recipe up on my website, Cheddar Chowder, from the Recipe Vault. Thanks for joining us. Okay, Bill.
Yum, yum. Refill.